everyone and welcome back to the channel.
Today we're going to be making some super delicious, super gooey double chocolate cookies using the Ninja Crispi air fryer.
So without any further ado, let's get into it.
So for this recipe you will need 285 grams of plain flour, 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, 1 teaspoon of cornstarch, 180 grams of dark brown sugar, 2 eggs, 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, 125 grams of butter at room temperature, and finally you're going to need 150 grams of chocolate. Now for our recipe we've gone for 1/3 dark chocolate, 2/3 milk chocolate. Now originally we were going to do 1/3 dark, 1/3 milk and 1/3 white chocolate, but we couldn't find the bar of white chocolate, so alas, here we are. So step one, you're going to want to grab yourself a bowl or a measuring jug like I've got here, and we're going to begin by mixing our dry ingredients. So up first, we're going to add our plain flour. We're going to add in 285 grams. I'm just going to do it freestyle, don't need no spoon. 285 grams of flour in the jug. Now we're going to add 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder. Bloody hell. That's on tight. So I've got 1/2 teaspoon here, so I'm going to add 3 of these. And then we're going to need 1 whole teaspoon of the bicarb of soda. Up next, we're going to add 1 teaspoon of the corn flour. And then a pinch of salt. Okay, now you're going to want to grab yourself a whisk and just incorporate it nice and easy. Don't have to be too vigorous. Just make sure that it's all mixed up together nicely. Now for the next part, we're going to begin by mixing our wet ingredients. Now we're using a KitchenAid, but don't worry if you haven't got one. You can simply just add your ingredients to a bowl and mix it either by hand or with an immersion blender or something. So we're going to grab our bowl and the scales. And we're going to begin by adding 225 grams of butter. This slab we've got here is 250 grams, so it's just shy of being the whole slab. I'm going to add sort of little by little blocks of butter at a time until we get to our 225. And it definitely makes your job a lot easier if your butter is room temperature. Okay, now once you've got your butter in the bowl, we're ready to start mixing. So we're going to bring our KitchenAid over. We've already got the paddle attachment on there. Place the bowl in, and then we're going to mix it on a medium to low speed. Right, once the butter's mixed, we're going to start by measuring our sugar. So we need 180 grams. So bowl on the scales. We're using brown sugar. In it goes. Okay, once you've measured the sugar, we're now going to add it to the butter. Now we're going to do it a little bit at a time. So a little bit in there now, and we're going to begin mixing. And then once it starts mixing, we'll just gradually add more and more. All right, now we're going to add our eggs into the mixture, and we're just going to chuck them straight in. Then we're going to add 1/2 teaspoon. I mean, you can go to a whole teaspoon if you want. I'm just going to add 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla extract. Pop that in. Then back to mixing. And then when your mixture looks like this, you can begin by adding the dry ingredients. So just like earlier, with the sugar, we're going to add this in little by little. I'm going to start with probably about, I don't know, 1/4 of the flour, and then I'm just going to keep turning it off, adding more flour, turning it off, adding more flour. But just don't turn your mixture up too high because the flour will go everywhere. And then finally, last but not least, we're going to add our chocolate chips to the mix. We're just going to chuck them all in and then get straight into mixing. If you're enjoying this video so far and you'd like to see more cooking videos, then why not give us a like and subscribe? Right, now that we've got our mixture finally completed, we're going to grab some parchment paper, add our dough onto it, and then we're going to roll it into basically a long sausage.
Okay, now this part is optional. You can, if you want to, bake all the cookies pretty much at the same time. But what we like to do is put them in the fridge and then store the batter, the dough, for a few days, and then you can bake in small batches whenever you want them. Grab some paper. Let's place the dough on the paper. Now, all of the dough is out of the bowl. I'm going to try and level it a little bit on the paper. Then we're going to shape it. I'm going to hold the ends together and gently roll the dough. Doesn't need to be perfect, just a little bit like a log basically, and it would make it so much easier to use later if it's stored in the fridge or in the freezer for a few minutes so that it's not so sticky anymore. Okay, now the cookie dough is ready to go in the fridge for a couple of hours and we will be back to bake it later. Okay, now the cookie dough's been in the fridge for about a couple of days because we forgot about it. You don't need to leave it in for that long, but now we are ready to bake. So this will be sitting on the side for a minute while we prep the crispy. So I've got some baking paper. I'm going to cut some to fit the size of the crisper basket, just like roughly. Now I'm going to cut this in half so it fits nicely. Okay, check. Perfect. Now I'm going to poke a couple of holes just around the middle of it so the air can circulate a bit better. Now, what I'm going to do is cut a few slices of the cookie dough. We're going to place them on the crisper basket and then we're going to bake. Okay, the end is kind of like the first pancake, not perfect, but I'm gonna keep the slices at about a couple of centimeters thickness. Don't want them too thick because they will spread a little bit when they bake. Okay, and now I'm going to add the power pod onto the container. And for baking, we're going to select air fry mode and 11 minutes, and then start.
So that was us making some awesome cookies using the Ninja Crispi. Let us know in the comments down below what your favourite recipe is in the Ninja Crispi.
And in the meantime, if you click the link on the screen right now, it will take you to another recipe we think you're gonna like.
Thanks for tagging along and we'll see you again on the next one.